Welcome back. You might all remember this Samsung from the previous video. This is the A31, and it turns out that it had stopped charging, and we bought a lower subboard because the previous one had sort of like burnt out, and we figured changing the port would be a little messy, but again we might have to preserve it for that. And this is what we are having right now here. Let me see if I can adjust the the exposure by trying to get it to focus onto my hand. So yesterday I showed you that this point was charred, and basically we had to change it. I don't know whether you can see that this, as opposed to the others, darkened at that point. I don't know. This is why I like my other Pro X camera app. It kind of does a good job. I'm using the native Sony camera app, and it is doing its exposure automatically. So anyway, bear with us for now. And having said that, now we bought a new subboard, and then we tested and we noticed power was reaching this point. Let me just do that for you. Okay, so when I plug this right there, I don't get anything, like anything. Plug this to the charging port, I don't get anything. So let me bring my multimeter, put it in voltage mode, and then I show you what I mean by that. Now when we plug in the charging port, it comes into this point, and this point transmits that to this other side. This first connector is definitely for the display, and this one is for communicating every communication on the lower subboard to the main motherboard, such as sound, mousepiece, and of the sort. When I plug this cable out, right, and I measure from this point, this point is the positive right there, and then the other end of it is the negative. So right there I expect to read the internal voltage from the charger, which I expect it to be 5 right there. That means on this end of the fiber, the 5 volts that we are supplying is actually ending up here, and that's good. Now if you've noticed, when I remove this rubber thing a little and then I scratch here, like that voltage should end up here, but when I plug this here, and remember the ground and that are the same things, so I should have to expect this to give me also 5 volts, but I don't get anything. So the trick, from what I saw, is to scratch this part up so as to loop that to that point, and I'm going to do just about that. I'm going to scrape this line right here, and be with me till the end, and we see if that method works. I actually came across it on YouTube because my mind now was sending me to the over voltage IC on the main motherboard, or the charging IC, or the power management, but the phone itself was able to boot up despite having any ability to charge. So I decided I'm going to scrape it from, I don't know which is the most decent part. I think I would like to keep it short, so I'm going to scrape it from around here. Okay, now let me put it here where the back casings won't have any trouble. So I don't know whether you're able to see, but I'm using the tip of a surgical blade, being careful not to cut, but just to scrape to and fro. Okay, scrape to and fro. I think that's enough for me to do what I have to do. So let me first plug that in, and then plug this in, and then measure to be sure that that's the point from which I'm getting the the 5 volt that is running till the end of the fiber. So I'm putting my ground there, then I test there, and it is 5. So I'm going to loop from here up to that point, and let me expose that, ready also to be polished. Now this is the point at which I decide to get my soldering gun, which whenever I need it chooses to hide, and I have to first hunt for it a little bit, but I guess it's part of the exercise. It gets me stretching. So for the sake of looping, I'm going to use these earphone wires, and I'm going to pick the red strand because this is actually coated and insulated, so I think they'll do me a lot of justice, looping that 5 volts from